one of my favorite interviews so far was this year was when I last spoke to you guys. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, that's great.
We saw your name come up and we're like, oh man, that was such a fun opening because PJ and I were doing like something weird. And then you came on and you're like, wow, this is gonna be a weird interview.
You were like, all right, man, here we go. All right.
No, it was so weird after that. I had the weirdest summer because I kept on seeing you guys everywhere. I saw you guys on Dave. Yeah. I was like, wait, I just saw so weird. And then hilarious. I saw Jim. I just saw you in Halloween. I was like, these guys are everywhere these days.
It's so weird too. I purposely didn't tell anybody that knew me that I was going to be in Halloween Kills. Like, went down secretly to film it in North Carolina, and then when it came out, everybody's like, "How are you in this movie? You're ruining this movie. How did you convince them that you're an actor?" It was really funny.
That's great. No, well, I don't want to take away from your movie, so I'll just focus on the beta test now, but it really is a pleasure to be speaking with you guys again.
Likewise.
You know who I am, Dempsey Pilat from 1010 Wins. Last time we spoke, you guys told me you were extremely nervous about following up Lin-Manuel Miranda and In the Heights at Tribeca, but now this is going to be available to the public, so how does that feel?
Oh, it's terrifying. It's especially now, like the movie is about us making fun of Hollywood, and now Hollywood's going to see it. And so, yeah, it feels a bit like we've been making jokes behind someone's back in the friend group, and then all of those text messages leak to that person. It's like, oh no, they're going to find out that we've been making fun of them for the last 2 years or whatever. So yeah, it's nerve-wracking, but also audiences seem to be laughing hysterically at it. So I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, it's definitely like I guess back in Tribeca, we knew it was still a long time before it was coming out, and it would only be like pockets of people, and even that was nerve-wracking. But now that it's going just like wide everywhere, there's definitely periods where I'm like, oh boy, okay, well, here we go. Like, we'll just send that out to everybody and see what happens, because it's a weird one. But I mean, I'm glad it finally is, because it's time. It's time. Yeah.
And it's talking about time. This film is extremely timely now. Okay. Hollywood is on fire on Facebook. You know, when I first saw this film, we all knew targeted advertising and digital manipulation were things that were going on. But with everything that's been revealed about not Facebook, Meta, all right, we got to be, politically correct now. Yeah. And everything that's happened in Hollywood with, the strike that almost happened and the tragic shooting that revealed how awful working conditions are. I mean, do you think that any of those things will affect people's reception of this? Or if so, how?
I'm glad to hear you say that. I think really this has been a long time coming. This kind of populist movement of the workers finally being able to take over the factories has been happening for the last 30 years, 40 years in the film industry. And only now, because of the internet and the power of connecting people, are they finally saying, I'm not going to take this anymore. And like, this person's getting paid more than I am. I'm doing all of the hard work. Like, all of that infrastructure that Hollywood was built on is now becoming shaky and collapsing because of interconnectivity and, leaks of data and stuff like that. That is really powerful. It's bringing the power back to the people. So I think, although it's been happening over a long period of time, it seems as though it's happening all at once now with these strikes and with working conditions on film sets becoming, front page news around the world. That is a shock to me, and it's a good feeling that people are finally talking about these problems.
Yeah, for sure. And it just, it kind of validates, like, okay, we were right to do this. Like, this is a serious problem, and like these suits exist that like have to be dealt with, and like, all these issues are worth talking about. So it's good that it's happening. Yeah.
When we were writing it, it felt a bit like inside baseball, and we kept on having these feelings of inadequacy of like, oh, I don't know if this will translate. I don't know if people will watch this film in Sweden or like around the world. Will they care about a writer's strike or the writers fighting back against these cheese dick people in the film industry? I don't know. And so when we started to have the CAA firing half of its staff in the news, or any of these other big shifts in Hollywood that were mainstream news now, it was like, oh, this is the movie that we made last year. This is crazy that this is happening. So there is a bit of kismet and happenstance, but we called it. I mean, we'd been working in this industry for 10 years. We knew that this was going to happen.
I think it's like a lot of industries though, too. I mean, the corporate doublespeak expands like in a lot of industries. I mean, people are just leaving their jobs that they've been stuck in because they're sick of dealing with the corporate bullshit. you're seeing that's not just entertainment industry, like that's kind of everywhere. So
Yeah.
I really think it expands. It's so that I don't think it's inside baseball at all in that regard. I think there's a lot that can be gleaned out of this.
People are sick of having to work with characters like us in the film around the world.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask this the last time I spoke to you guys, how it seemed like, well, the first time I watched it, it was very much a comedy. I enjoyed it as a comedy, but this time, as I said, with everything that's going on, it seemed much more like a horror film.
Yep.
And I know, Jim, with your last film, you dabbled in horror, and even Thunder Road to a certain extent is, a kind of a different kind of horror, the horror of grief. But is there something about that genre that fascinates you, or something that you think you can explore in that genre that you don't really get the freedom to in any other?
I mean, it's funny. We're like, really, the different genres of cinema are like different lobes of the brain for audiences. And if you can do all of them in a film, it can be really fulfilling. It feels like you're having a full meal rather than an appetizer or, brain sugar, which is what most movies are when they come out nowadays. So really, just having the film have horrific elements throughout, you're able to like wield an audience's attention and their feelings of fear or tension or anything, and it's really fulfilling. It's like a nice thing as a conductor of the orchestra to be able to make an audience feel a certain thing when making the film. But we always say that, like, a film has to have comedy in it. If you don't make jokes throughout your movies, your audiences will. Like, people want to have jokes being made at the expense of the film, and we just do it ourselves throughout the movie, and it's really fulfilling. I think horror is its own unique enterprise where there's such a built-in audience already, but it still functions a bit like comedy, where there's setup and payoff, and there's punchlines. It just happens to be scares, which I'm not surprised Jordan Peele has had such a successful career in horror, because it translates pretty easily to comedy.
Yeah. I think they are very related, and also because comedy helps you deal with like horrific elements in life. I mean, it's kind of like, some of the best comedians are philosophers. I mean, it's able to help you deal with like big existential issues by connecting through comedy, because it helps kind of disarm these kind of scarier, dark elements of life. And so I don't know, it just helps audiences connect, I think, to bigger, scary issues.
And I have to ask this. I wasn't going to ask this before, but I saw within the hour you tweeted something about a BTS documentary. Are you making a documentary about BTS, or is it a behind the scenes documentary? You want to explain what should people expect?
This is when I reveal that I'm really big into Korean pop music. This is an exclusive. No, unfortunately, it is something far more self-serving. It is the behind the scenes documentary of the beta test. But PJ and I have been filming it for the last 3 years, basically. So it shows from the ideation period of when we had the idea for the script, through screenwriting, through production, through post-production, through distribution and festival circuit. So like, it is just this amalgamation over a 21-minute span of watching people start the crux of the movie to then finishing it in a way that I don't think has ever been done. So like, really, hopefully the BTS documentary will be this inoculation to the Hollywood lies that you can't make movies by yourself with your friends. And then also inspire, more people that are young filmmakers to say, oh, I can do it too.
Awesome. Final question, just because I have to ask this, I need to know from my own, self-curiosity, what are you guys working on next? I know you guys are working on something. Can you give me a tease? What genre it is? What kind of characters we'll see?
Yes. Yes. It is the screenplay that we're writing right now is a Victorian horror comedy buddy romance film about a gay Republican millionaire who lives in this big house and gets his college buddy, who happens to be a Black electrician, to install electricity in his house. And it's about them trying to raise the funds to bring the town into the 20th century. And it is a beautiful, hilarious movie.
You guys are working on it together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I don't know how any of those things are going to work, but I'm very excited because I know you guys are going to make them work. So, Oh my God.
It's like 10 more genres than even beta combined together. So.
It's a masterpiece. It's beautiful. You're going to love it. You are going to love it.
It's the greatest thing we'll ever do. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
I can't wait. Hopefully I can speak to you guys about it when it comes out. But as always, a pleasure speaking with both you, Jim, PJ. I wish you the best of luck with the film, and I will continue to do my due diligence and tell everybody I know to go see it.
Dempsey, it was our pleasure.
Thank
you for having us.
Thank you so much, dude. You're awesome.
Take care. Have a good one, guys.
All right, man. You too. See ya.
Bye.
I fucking love that guy.
Yeah, he's hilarious.